Hi, this is Andy with QualityStocks. Today is April 14th, 2010, and we're going to be taking a look at FRHV products. It's a NASDAQ bulletin board stock trading under the ticker FRHV. We're going to take a quick look at the lower indicators, but as you can see from the candles, it's made a big move. A lot of things that you would expect, a lot of sideways movement, and then the big takeoff here a couple days ago. Also notice Full Stow still has plenty of room to move. Trix is just now making its turn and making its curl. So not everything is completely overrun at this point. Obviously, the RSIs are pretty toppy, up over 90 with this just gigantic jump. You can see this made a move from under a penny down from 0.002. It made a great move back November, consolidated for a long time, held one support level. Let's put this on here real quick. We'll take it right back off. A couple things to note: when it made its first move, held its gains very well. Came across, consolidated into a pennant sort of pattern, and then it trickled out a little farther. Moved up though, made another pretty strong support level. Held again at 0.02 until the explosion here 2 days ago. Now, people always ask, well, what do you look for from this point? Well, if you're in on this gap, um, I wouldn't personally chase just at this point yet. I'd see what this does. You can see typically it gets outside the Bollinger Bands and it'll want to move back inside of them. Right now it's outside of them. Put together 3 days here, kind of outside them, a little bit inside out, then a little bit outside back in, consolidated and pull back in. Volume was still strong yesterday, still closed at the high of the day. So there's still a possibility of another pop out of this play today. So I'd look and see for that, for starters, how it does. From that point on, I look for, first and foremost, I play moving averages. So these 5 and 10 days, which are still down quite a bit lower, 6 and just over 4, these are dynamic. They'll catch back up pretty quickly to it. For me, it's a hold until it breaks below the 10-day moving average, and then I'll look for it to move back above it. That sort of mentality. The 10-day moving average is a critical area of support for me on playing a moving stock. After that, the Fibonacci lines, looking for retracements. The way that they work is they go from bottom to top. You can see this went from 0.2 to 14. That puts a 12-cent move. It puts your 50% retracement at 8 cents. So if this wants to pull back down, I'd also look for that 8 cents. By that time, this might be supported by these, like I talk about, these shorter term moving averages. If it wants to trickle slowly and consolidate, well, these other moving averages will catch back up and help give it support also. So I look for those kind of things if this wants to try and pull back some and retrace, consolidate. It's not a bad thing. Everybody knows it has to do it. It can't go up every single day forever. So I'd look for those sort of areas of support. When you're in a blue sky breakout like this, you don't get, there's no real areas of support that's strong through here. Obviously, it's been 2 days of a gigantic move. So you have to rely on moving averages and the retracement lines. So we'll look for those. The fact that there's this big gap, there's a couple different rules people play by. This gap doesn't always get filled. It's a common rule of thumb. It's got to fill the gap, but some people use 3, some people use 5, some people use 10 days. If it doesn't fill it in those days, just forget about it. It's probably not gonna. I'm not sure about the news that happened with FRHV, but this might have been some strong news that just says this is going to continue to move up in the long run. I have to check into that. But as far as the gap, I wouldn't be too concerned about trying to drop all the way back down to 3 cents and fill this gap, especially not immediately. That's a long drop. So first and foremost, I'd look for the move today. If it makes another move, the fib lines would be pulled up higher, find the top again, find 50%. And then again, everything being dynamic, so the 50% line would move up. The moving averages, you'd be looking for those things to tie back together. I wouldn't anticipate staying outside of these Bollinger Bands for very long. They just don't want to do that. So look for the Bollinger Bands to peak up with it, and look for everything to start to pull back into a nice, smooth consolidation pattern. Here eventually, it will consolidate. There'll be some profit taking, nothing to worry about. So this is Andy with QualityStocks. This is how I play a play like this.